You wanted a Power 4 caliber player? Well, Rich Rod and his staff just got one. And in this episode, which is brought to you by BetUS Online and Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner Attorneys at Law, we're going to talk about this player that West Virginia was able to nab out of the transfer portal, who chose West Virginia over an SEC school. So stick around and we'll talk about it right after this. Since 1931, the attorneys at Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. What is up? Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. I am your host, Couz, and you have landed yourself here where we serve up nothing but top shelf college football news and analysis on tap in today's episode. We are going to talk about arguably the best player that West Virginia so far has been able to get a commitment from out of the transfer portal. And his name is Michael Coats Jr. He's a defensive back transfer out of Nevada. And I'm going to talk about just how good this young man is in just a minute. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the story of this young man. West Virginia fans, we love a good story, right? That's one of the reasons we were so upset about Hudson Clement leaving. He was the walk-on story, right? Well, this young man has a very interesting story in his own right. According to Mike Osti over at WV Sports Now, this young man did not even play high school football. He went to a community college to play football for 3 years before transferring to Nevada, where he played for 2 years. And now he's transferring up to play at West Virginia and finish his career out playing in the Big 12 for the Mountaineers and Coach Rod and defensive coordinator Zach Alley and that staff. Now, what is allowing him to do that is the new rule that was just passed where players who play JUCO get one more year of eligibility at the FBS level or at the Division I level because they're not counting JUCO towards, or at least 1 year of it, against their eligibility. So that's allowing this young man to play. And here's one area or one example where this new rule is actually helping the Mountaineers. So just how good is this young man? Well, yes, he played at Nevada. And I know a lot of fans are going to be, talking about how, well, we got another G5 kid. This kid ain't no good. He's never proved himself. Well, that's fair. And you can have that argument, and you have a right to that argument. But I'm going to disagree that he's proven himself. Now, obviously, it's yet to be determined how well he plays at West Virginia in the Big 12. I understand that. But when you look at what this young man has done in his career, it's hard to argue how good he's done. And we're going to take a look at his stats, his accolades. Then we're going to talk about his PFF grades and how good he is from that perspective. So let's look at this young man's stats real quick. In 2024, he led the team, Nevada, in interceptions with 4. He had 10 passes defended to go along with 42 tackles, total tackles. So a very, very good player who put up good numbers. He was a first-team All-Mountain West player, first-team All-Mountain West selection, and he had some consideration for All-American as well. He's that good. They got a guy who can cover on the outside, who you can put on the other team's best receiver, it appears. And hopefully, based on what he's done so far in his career, he might be able to lock them down. West Virginia has not had that guy at defensive back so far, at least, or who's played at that level. Yeah, they had Beanie Bishop, and he was a great corner. He's doing great in the NFL, but he was more of a zone guy. This is someone they can put in one-on-one coverage on the outside against the other team's best receiver and let him cook, let him go to work. That's what West Virginia has been missing from this secondary for quite some time. And I think, again, it's yet to be determined. I hate to get too excited about these kids because sometimes they don't pan out. And sometimes the ones you think won't do pan out. It's just the way it goes. But right now, I think there's reason for us to be excited because of what he's done. Now, before we start talking about the PFF grades, I want to give a quick shout out to my other sponsor here, BetUS Online. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, if you're looking to place a bet on the college football playoff semifinals or the college football playoff national championship coming up or any other sporting event, look no further than our friends over at BetUS Online. Right now, on your very first deposit with BetUS, you get a 150% sign-up bonus with promo code YouTube150. Again, promo code YouTube150 gets you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit. You also get a 125% bonus on your next two deposits, up to a grand total of $2,000. If you do play, make sure you play responsibly. You must be 18 years of age or older. And if you or anyone you know has a gambling problem, please be sure to reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER for help. Now, let's get back to the show, and let's talk about pro football focused grades for Michael Coats Jr. Now, very impressive. He's a redshirt senior because of his 2 years at Nevada and then his 3 years at the community college level. So he's actually going into his sixth year of college football. He's 5'10" tall, 173 pounds. He's not a big guy, but man, can he cover. Okay. And when you listen to these numbers. Now, he played a total of 751 snaps in wide coverage in 2024. So almost the majority, he played over 900 snaps, but the majority of those snaps were playing the outside receivers. Not a whole lot of snaps playing inside, and not a whole lot of snaps playing safety. Almost exclusively playing outside receivers. That's what West Virginia needs. Okay. And in doing so, in 2023, his overall defensive grade was 71.2, which was 53rd out of 852 corners in the country. Well, in 2024, he was only 62nd in the country out of 855 that graded out. But here's the thing. His grade went up 9 points to an 80.4. That was his overall defensive grade. His coverage grade, listen to his coverage grade, 87 in pass coverage. 87, folks. So just an elite pass coverage grade for Michael Coats Jr. 15th in the country out of 837 cornerbacks. And even better, if you look at the corners who played at least 400 coverage snaps, he was 7th in the country. And according to Chris Anderson over at 24/7 Sports and his X account, majority of the players who finished ahead of him on that list are in the NFL or entering the NFL draft. Here's what Chris Anderson had to say on his tweet. He says, Coats is one of the best cornerbacks available in the portal, possibly the most productive this past season. Ranked 7th in coverage grade from PFF in the entire nation, with players at least 400 snaps, with most above him entering the NFL draft. And what makes it even cooler is, and like I talked with my co-host Jonathan last night on the Golden Blue Breakdown show, which, by the way, was released today at noon if you want to check it out. And we talked about this. Or is West Virginia getting too many G5 guys? And I think at the end of the day, it boils down to if you've got a guy that's coming out, and it's not just this, but I think this is something you definitely have to take a look at. If you've got a guy who's coming from a lower level school and he's being recruited by a lot of big name Power 4 schools, then he's probably pretty darn good. And this is a perfect example. He was set to go on a visit to Ole Miss when he left Morgantown. Ole Miss, an SEC school who, oh, by the way, just landed former West Virginia receiver Traylon Ray. So West Virginia lost Traylon Ray, picked up Michael Coats. Got a little bit of payback, right? A little bit of payback. But anyway, if Ole Miss thought he was good enough to play in the SEC against the likes of Alabama and Georgia and Florida and LSU and Texas A&M, then he's probably good enough to play at West Virginia in the Big 12. And I'm not kind of knocking the Big 12. I love the Big 12. Look at this right here. Look at my screen behind me. I love this conference. But let's just face it. The SEC schools typically get better talent as far as looking at ratings and at least on paper, right? And they have won more national titles. So I think there's some proof in the pudding there. Let's be honest with ourselves. But at the end of the day, if you've got schools like Ole Miss who want this young man, and I'm sure there were others who wanted him, but he had to narrow it down to West Virginia and Ole Miss at the end. He didn't. The cool thing about it is he did not even go on his visit to Ole Miss. He fell in love with West Virginia and decided to commit and sign while he was there. So a huge, huge recruiting win here out of the transfer portal for Coach Rodriguez, Coach Zach Alley, Coach Rod West, the new corners coach. Huge win for that staff, for this team. I'm very excited. This could be, Cam Vaughn is probably the biggest recruit so far out of the portal on the offensive side of the ball. I think this is so far the biggest name on the defensive side of the ball for this staff, but they're not done yet, folks. Now they still have to go get some offensive linemen. They probably still need to nab a few more DBs and a few more linebackers, maybe some more D linemen. But right now, I like this pickup. I like this addition to this roster for Coach Rod and this staff. But what do you think? What do you think about this pickup for West Virginia? Am I too excited? Do I need to pump the brakes? Or are you excited just like I am about West Virginia landing Michael Coach Jr.? Let me know in the comment section. I want to give a quick shout out to my VIP channel members of this episode: Deb K, Houston Cougars Germany, Denny Allen, Tom Dean, Daniel Gigax, and Shaggy of WV. Thank you all for being members of the channel. If you want to be a member, just hit the join button below. If you don't see a join button on your device, because a lot of devices make it difficult, then go to my channel homepage. There's a join button right beside my beautiful profile photo, or you can go into my description box, and there's a link there as well. There's $2.99 a month. There's the $2.99 a month option. There's the $4.99 a month option. It'll explain the perks that go with each one when you click on it. It's a very easy way to support what I'm doing here on the channel and help me keep the lights on. You can also help me by hitting the thumbs up button, liking the video, which is a like. You can leave the comment. You can subscribe to the channel, help me get to 10,000. You can also come and support my West Virginia basketball channel called Hoops from the Hills. That would be a big help too if you're a college basketball fan or a West Virginia fan. And finally, I want to shout out my sponsors again: BetUS Online Sportsbook and Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner Attorneys at Law. Thank them for their support of the channel and also helping me keep the lights on. I appreciate you tuning into the show. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf. And check out this video right here. You may just like it because YouTube thinks you will. And Q Country Roads.